For the second round? Okay. This is called Caged Italian Canadian Grace. And it's very autobiographical, and I'm starting over. One particular morning when the evergreen turned blue and the glass turtle awoke, the boulder in a suburban man unleashed an indelibly stamped crown with sentimental sediments. With a pensive erosion, a worm was sneaking away from a discarded nightly flashlight that tarnished a nearby snail's glowing shell. With the complexity of both time and space that correlated illuminating darkness towards a tranquil lawn, with its overexposure of the last twilight's emblematic recall, the broken attics of discardedly torn apart households were laid out like porous relics of grittier times. When the cyclical spoke of a baseball car's prosperity, flipped and wheeled onward with someone else's spoiled embers on a baseball bike, on bikes, spokes. The roster on the nearby diamond unleashed the ritualistic resources of entertainment with a back-to-back spin out of a spitball's moisturous leather. A crab apple on a picnic table started to blush because it was becoming red and green on the loftier side, with its brownish counterpart receiving a progressive indulgence within its materialistic decay, turning everything into a neo-faceted socialized share, with no overbearing timeless sense of self-worth, with a nearby bumblebee trying to free itself from a romperous room when it was trapped by its worthy chin on a piece of sticky flypaper upon the inhabiting soup cans that were recycled properly further out near the garbage dump shelves of second-hand toys. An uplifted American skirt was flashing its moral beauty upon the French-Canadian reservation during briefly eternal encounters, with their solitarily confining measures forcing everyone to get a hold of themselves when trying to relinquish this obese and yet gentle and jealous reprimand. With a beckoning decor of a small, big brothers banked out colonial man, nearby the jalapeno peppers, begging for a melted mug of ice, cold water. There were concordant motor city arousals that were spitting out blood from their modeling enterprises. It was then everybody's self-regarding minutes began. They laughed about the Mondo. On the other side of the world, there was a castle being lit by a crescent medieval moon. A little girl was carrying a load of olive branches on her head beneath the castle on the pathway that led home. She was going through adolescence with dreams of musical lines and adventurous notions. Towards the male world which she was so shyly contemplating. As the fountain stream gave way towards a flashing timely endurance that was being personified by an archaic pillar's renaissance and historic nature. The small town she lived in was called Plato, which is found in southern Italy and Calabria. The name being taken from an ancient Greek goddess that had once settled there. The little girl's name was Antonella, and she had dark eyes with hair with a chubby indulgence with her passing meals as she cooked on her orphan brother, whose name was Carlo. They had lost their mother months earlier to this cancer, and her father Francesco was maintaining them with his drunken gardening. He was an alcoholic wine drinker and sometimes abused himself with nazionale cigarettes and cheap brandy, but he loved his children nonetheless. The Mediterranean Sea was only 10 minutes away by car, but they didn't have one. I didn't have one either. And their only means of transportation was an aging donkey that can discern the town's cobblestone from the weedest carried quite a hefty load of wood and set a fire in their old home's fireplace. Their town in Calabria was still populated by gentle people, craftsmen fixing shoes, and students were fixing the mines. From what seemed to be to them as a backward upbringing. The dropouts were already smoking weed and could have been counted on a hand for light drugs. Light drugs were not too fashionable at the time. The older gents preferred lots of vino, wine, and pork sausage, while they had their wives pick olives and make olive oil so they can sell it to any buyer interested in natural extra virgin produce. And none of them brushed aside a rat that snuck in their room one day with a broom and twigs. In order to clean their cement floor better, accumulated a humid dust from the cold stone walls. Her bed being a lonely reminder of both pain and pleasure she was going to find upon it. And her mysterious male fawn came into her life a few months later. Today's school end, meanwhile, in Otto was about to become eminent. Sandro used to believe that he pushed the gram of hash from a dealer in Ottawa. He wanted to tell Sandro and Dean that he had just done so in order for them to meet him at his suburban parents' home one evening for a good time. His mother was a salad chef and illiterate, but she remembered everything that was being ordered just the same. She was hardworking and stingy and often had arguments with her husband over money and booze. He worthily drank after hard day's work. And their relationship was contrasted and spoiled with three Canadian buddies, but nonetheless had problems as well. But not like Sandro's violent upbringing. Toned out here, blood on the floor, and wine vomit. Seeming the constant inner decor was crushed at home. But Sandro could still not escape them because he still loved them. We're still in school. It seemed he was awaiting a miracle into our ghastly guilt trip. He was about to arrive. Well, we're going to have to try to run this one now. And deal with this one. With the lids, you have to do it. There you go. He's about to arrive. A frigid, demonic February. A frigid, demonic February. Enveloped the air. There were smoke rings coming out of chimneys, and the white stucco was being pierced on the side by environmental negligence. Except for a shit stain on the white stucco, and it was being pierced on the side by environmental negligence. And the pure virginal snow. By dog kennel's blood that was beaten by a menopausal hate. The hash scent then broke through the kitchen door onto on his lap, and she began to scream. Sandro was in a state of shock, and he hadn't been taking a stupid cool that made him crack under the weight of embarrassment. And yet, and Jane believed rushed Jamie to his home to deal with punishment alone. He could overhear his friend say that he was crazy and traveled Destiny's pretense. But he really does have to go to a psychiatric facility, he said. He and his father no longer being insane. To make matters worse, their mom never again had tears as well. He and me getting lotion on their feminine ache and death. Then there seemed to be no way out. The worried, simple parent would drop out in order to be rid of his evil friend. That of unending battle experience describes his classic case forever. One of the stairs was released now, Canada turning really strange. Yes, sir. I am strangely free. Flying over the royally Ottoman cuckoo's nest for the first of many times. The airline's waitress. That must be Madison. The airline's waitress served both he and his mother on the Alitalia flight. Was a Nordic Italian blonde who liked Sandro, whose like Sandro had never seen before. Her Italian persona was refined and elegant, as her cosmopolitan and reflective processes were underlining a different form of European sexuality that blended well with the dark espresso coffee, with the color latte silhouetting her big breast upon his unexpected teenage awakening source, is a refined beauty. Gradisca, she said as Sandro nervously peeked at her morning offerings from a plastic composite tray that were artfully defined by her Italian outfit. Sì, vorrei il cornetto, per favore. Here's your croissant, she delicately responded. It's cream flavored. When they got off the plane in Rome, there was a strange, exotic smell of grass, and the air seemed flavored by a bright and sunny, penetrable glow. That reflected within the childhood renaissance of his first step on Italian soil, with the novelties relevance of a truly another land. His first impact thus with this country became immediately magical and new, as a strange personification process with another populace's normality began. His father had remained at home in Ottawa, confused, angry, and perturbed, because he couldn't find any more joy in working as he drank himself into an indebted money-loaning scheme from the Bank of Nova Scotia, waiting for Sandro and his mother's phone call from Italy. Those bastards, he thought, who drugged up my son are going to pay. In fact, Daryl did, and Sandro's dad was going to beat the hell out of him in a nearby mall, both then being brisked away by a security guard's warning. Daryl is still shitting his pants to this day. Meanwhile, in Italy, Sandro and his mom arrived in Calabria. The olive trees immediately gave him a sense of peace, as As he rode upon a Roman taxi driver's car, Sandro's Canadian tan was put to the test. Americani, siete? Americans, siete? You're Americans? The taxi driver asked. No, Canadese, Sandro responded, putting then his Canadian identity to the test. When Sandro started to feel silly and linguistically challenged while feeling oddly special for the first time in his life, noticing even his mother's dialectual Colombian speech was being put to the test. In fact, the whole atmosphere around him seemed like a cultural exam that he was beginning to embrace as his first true life experience. Schooling was about to begin.